Welcome back to the podcast. This podcast is going to blow your mind. And I am saying that a little bit cheeky, but also it's going to be so amazing. And it's something you're going to want to save, bookmark, and come back to. Because I'm going to be talking about manifestation. And manifestation really gets misunderstood so often. A lot of people think that it's just making a wish and then sitting back and suddenly it's there. And that is 100% not what it is. And I'm speaking to you as someone who is an expert on manifestation. I am a master manifester. This is a self-imposed title, something that I've given myself after having manifested some really incredible things in my life. It's something that I have been that I know of for at least 7 years. People used to call me the master manifester. And that's when I was like, well, you know what? That's just going to be my title now. And I have always been a manifester. Spoiler alert, you have too. Maybe you just don't realize it. And I have really leaned into what really it takes to manifest something or to create something in your life. And I'm going to share that with you. This process that I'm going to be sharing with you is something that I like to say was divinely guided. It's not something that I sat down and said, okay, I need to come up with a method to describe how to manifest things. That's not really how my inspiration works and my intuition works. Maybe you can relate. When I am not thinking about it at all is when it comes to me. And it comes to me in a very quick, very clear download. And those downloads happen often when I'm exercising or when I'm walking around in nature or when I'm riding my Peloton. It's like suddenly it's there and I just have to grab my phone and really quick write it in the notes. I highly recommend that you keep something that you can keep notes on close by when you're doing things where you know you get inspiration. Just as a side note, it can be so helpful because otherwise that in those thoughts that come to your mind, they're just going to kind of float off and you're going to forget about them. So this is one of those things where it came to me and I was like, oh, and the light bulb just came on. And then I outlined it and I thought about it and I started to plug in the things that I know and kind of refined it a little bit. So I'm going to share that framework with you today. And like I said, this is one you're going to want to bookmark. This is one you're going to want to save, download, and come back to because you're first going to hear it and you're going to be like, all right, cool. I can do these things. And then you're going to start doing these things and you're going to be like, wait, hold on. What was I supposed to do next? So just save it so you can come back to it and listen to it. Also share it with anyone else who you really think would appreciate it and anyone else who could probably use this in their life and would be open to it. You know those friends. You know those people. So let's dive in. What I'm going to be sharing with you today, I have titled it as the Dreams Manifestation Method. And it's 6 steps. I like to use acronyms, and so I'm using acronyms to outline the method using the word dreams. Originally, it was just dream, and then through a conversation that I was having with someone, I was like, ooh, I need to add that S, and you'll see why at the very end. So let's dive into the first step, and that is the letter D. D stands for decide. Before anything, you need to decide what it is that you want. You need to commit fully to whatever it is that you want. And if you're sitting there and you're like, well, I'm not really sure what I want, I'm going to share with you a couple of ways to start to get curious around that. Because what you want, it's already there. And there may be some misunderstanding is like there needs to be this final end result that I have to be 100% clear on. And if I'm not, then I'm going to be steering myself wrong. It's going to go down this really wayward path and I'm going to get there and be like, oh, shoot, this isn't really what I wanted. That's the overthinking part of your brain. So you're going to set that part of your brain aside. And here's a couple of activities that will help you get a little more clear on what it is you want. First off, do a personal values exercise. Figure out what your top 5 values are and have them handy, close by, so that you know what's most important to you. Another really great activity is to do a free write where you are answering, or you're not answering any questions, you're just writing whatever comes to your mind. And if that feels overwhelming to you, you can just have the question be, what do I want? And then you free write. So like usually when you're free writing, if you've never done it before, the first couple of moments, it's like, what do I write? I don't know what to write. And then eventually your hand just takes over and things come out. It can be really fun. If the question, what do I want, is a little too much for you, you can kind of break it down into categories. So what do I want? Emotional, physical, spiritual, financial, mental, etc., into categories. So it can kind of break it down so it's not so overwhelming. Another really great strategy is to spend some time in nature. Like I mentioned, taking notes on the inspiration that comes through. A really good strategy too is to think about who you admire and who you're jealous of. Jealousy, I feel like, gets a bad rap because it's a, quote, negative feeling. But to me, jealousy is just information. This person has something that I wish I had. So think about, like, who am I really jealous of and why? It could be somebody you know personally, somebody you see on social media, somebody like a famous person that you don't even know. Lean into what it is about them that you would like to have in your life. Whether it's a relationship or material things, a job or a business or a lifestyle, their body, their abilities, what it is that they have that you're like, I would really like to have that. I'm kind of jealous that they have that and I don't. So get curious around that. You could also just journal about the things that you're dissatisfied of in your life. What in your life do you feel like isn't great? So often we are told to not focus on the negative and to let's just focus on the positive, But you can't really appreciate the positive or know the positive unless you also have that counterbalance of what isn't positive. You can't fix the things that aren't working well unless you actually have the courage to look at them. So maybe just write down some things. Where in my life are things not great? Where am I dissatisfied? And then start there. And then ask yourself to kind of turn it around. Okay, what would my life look like, or how would things be if things were different in this area? And what might this area look like if I were to feel more fulfilled or purposeful or happier and content in that area? Another really great strategy is just to go through a day in the life kind of dream life activity visualization, where you just imagine like how your life would look and feel in your dream life. Where would you wake up? Where would you go? What type of clothes would you wear? Who would you talk to? What would you be doing? All the way to the moment your head hits the pillow, how do you feel then? And also, of course, as I mentioned before, spending time in just quiet contemplation, meditation, movement, in the shower, like I said, shifting your energy in a way that feels good to you so that it doesn't just sit stagnant. So those are some ideas to help you get a little more clear on what it is you want, and know that the things that come to you, they're just the compass. They're not necessarily the end result. Like I said before, it's not like this is what I want, period, end of story. And if I don't get there, I'm a big fat failure and everything sucks. No, this is the starting point. This is what I want. This is what I want to bring in. And then as you start walking the path toward that thing that you want, other things will get lit up. You're going to meet other people. You're going to be inspired by different people. And you'll start following that inspiration. Eventually, that what I want end result might be a little different in the long run. Like I said, there's no final answer that's 100% accurate, and you're going to stick to it no matter what. You're going to have it be your compass and just kind of light the way. So the what I want is the compass, and it's going to change. This deciding part, this deep part, it comes with really fully owning what you want by aligning your thoughts, your words, and your actions with that thing. So you're internally deciding and you're outwardly sharing, talking with people about it, and you're taking action on the thing. This D, the deciding, is your first action. All right, so that's step one, part one. Step two, the R, is release. You're going to let go of the things that are no longer serving you to create space, to create the life that you're wanting, the thing that you're wanting. Release comes with letting go of the blocks. So there's inner blocks and there's outer blocks. Inner blocks are the thoughts you have, the self-doubt, maybe some guilt, fear, or shame, the feelings that you're having that are holding you back. Outer blocks might be people who don't support you, people who drain your energy or distract you from this path that you're walking on. They can also be habits, things that you're doing that aren't really aligned with this future best interest that you have. And you might notice that when you start to shift things, your relationships and your habits, people might be disappointed or let down, or that it might impact your relationship. And this is where you can notice how people pleasing might show up for you. Another thing that you might want to work on releasing. And what you're doing here is you're shedding the old layers that they're no longer serving you. Because this version of you that has the thing that you're going toward is a separate version of you. It's still you. But those things that are blocking you and holding you back are keeping you where you are. So this release work is essential to get you to where it is that you're going. You're going to be addressing perfectionism and the need for everything to look and be just so. That might be one of the hardest things. Because when you get an idea in your head about what it is you want, and it doesn't go the way that you think it's going to go, that's where the shit's going to get stirred up. You're going to be like, oh, I'm not cut out for this. This isn't for me. I'm delusional. I'll just go back to my old ways. But it doesn't have to be perfect to be effective. In fact, the more you fail, the more you're going to grow. And that's part of the evolution of creating the thing in your life that you're wanting, of this manifestation. It's okay for it to look messy. And that's part of this level up process. So you might be doing some mindset work to uncover these self-limiting beliefs or assumptions you have about yourself and the world. Also, nervous system regulation techniques are really handy in the release method, part of the method, because stepping out of your comfort zone and saying no to people or shifting your habits or doing something different or failing or all of those things can really trigger that stress response. So doing things that actively calm your nervous system, whether it's somatic practices or yoga or meditation or exercise, keeping your nervous system in check so that you don't feel like you're completely out of control. That's part of the release part of this as well. Another really great thing is to practice forgiveness. Forgiveness toward yourself and toward other people so that you can free up space for that openness and the highest good energy to come in. And what you're doing here is you're just decluttering your mind, you're decluttering your environment, and letting go of all of those outdated stories that are keeping you stuck and keeping you from really manifesting whatever it is you're wanting into your life. The next one, step 3, is the E, is embody. What you're doing here is you're stepping into the version of yourself that already lives this life, that already has this thing that you're wanting. It's already doing whatever it is that you want to do successfully. And how you embody this is you align your actions, your energy, and your habits with the life you're creating. So that involves your daily routines. And are they in line with where you're going? Are they in line with your values and the dreams that you're creating? Also, visualizing, keeping your focus on that belief strong. So you're visualizing yourself with it's already done energy. I'm already there. This is already mine. And you're tapping into the feeling of, I have this already energy, the feeling underneath it all. That's really at the heart of manifestation, is when you can tap into the feeling of it's already here, you are magnetizing this thing toward you. The moment you get into doubt, I don't know, uncertainty, shame, guilt, it's like a literal block, a wall comes up. So you're regularly embodying and feeling the energy of the person who already has this thing. And this is going to involve having some boundaries to protect your time and your energy. I want to be clear that embodying doesn't mean that you feel amazing all of the time. You're still a human being. This doesn't mean that every day you have to wake up and feel magical and have 100% strong belief. No, that's impossible. On the days where you're struggling with belief, there's compassion that comes with it too, and that's part of the embodiment. That's part of it's not perfect, and it's okay for it to not be perfect energy. You're embodying the person who's okay with the ups and the downs and still holding strong and true to that end goal, that vision and that dream. And this also is where somatic practices can come in to help you with confidence, to help you with alignment, and also just really imagining as if when you move through your life. I remember when I was manifesting some things in my life, one of the things that really bugged me in my life was that my car was really old and kind of run down. And when I would drive the car, instead of being like, gosh, this car is so old, I wish I had a new car. That's how people sometimes get a little bit tripped up, as they think that if they just wish for it, it's going to come. But instead, I would be really grateful. This car drives me safely to the places I want to go. It runs well. It's got seat belts. It's got an engine. I can fill it up with gas and I can go wherever I want. And then also just imagining that I'm sitting in the car that I really do want. I'm already in that car. Instead of looking around and seeing flaws and faults and whatever it was that I didn't like about the car, I just imagine, hey, I'm already in this car. This car is already mine. It's not a wish, it's not a dream, it's already here. Also, going places that version of you would go. So where would that person shop? And if you don't have the financial means to actually buy something there, just go and be that person who shops there. Walk around, look at the things, and maybe there is something there that is within your budget and you can get and be like, I buy these things at my favorite store. I am the person who shops here, and I am the person who spends money in this store. Going to the places that they would go and being that person while you're there. Because essentially, embodiment is that you're that person now. The next one, the A, this is step 4, is action. This is where so many people misunderstand manifestation. Manifestation is not just a wish. It takes action, and courageous action at that. So you're moving forward courageously, even when your path isn't fully illuminated. This is a part that can be so hard for so many people because they get stuck in the I don't know loop. I don't know what to do. I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I can do it. I don't know if this is the right step. Maybe this is a mistake. And then that blocks the action. And if they're not taking action, guess what? Nothing happens. And then they might blame other practices, but it's because they didn't actually do the thing that they needed to do to manifest whatever it was that they were going to manifest. This is where the subtle shifts method can come in so handy. You're taking small, intentional steps toward your goals. You're embracing that imperfection and you're letting it be messy to start. I've talked with a few people who are working on starting a business. And one of the things that they really want to do is showing up more consistently on social media. And what I've noticed comes up for every person that I've been coaching or talking to that has this idea is like, okay, but let me look at what other people are doing and get some ideas and then I'll do it. Or I need to create these 5 posts so that I have something already on my page and it looks like I'm already established. Or I'll give myself 2 weeks to create this post and make sure that the caption is all just right and the picture is all just right, when they could literally just take a picture, write something, and post it right now. So it can be messy. It does not have to be perfect. Consistent, regular, courageous action. And then there's also this tendency of what action is. Sometimes it can feel safer and it feels like you're taking action when you're doing behind the curtain work versus in front of the curtain work. So I equate this to a performance, like a stage performance. In a stage performance, there's a lot of behind the scenes people who are helping with logistics and lighting and sound and all of those things. And then there are the actors, the performers who are on the stage, the ones that we all see. And when you are creating something, when you're manifesting something, it can feel like you are taking action when you're doing behind the scenes, behind the curtain things. Oh yeah, I did this, made this graphic for my website, or I wrote this blog and I'm going to, put it out there eventually, or I'm setting up this background that's going to be in my video, or I'm going to watch hours and hours of how to be consistent on Instagram. That's all behind the scenes. Nobody's going to see that. Yes, it's important to know what you're doing and to learn these things, but you also have to regularly and, more importantly, put your attention and your energy in front of the curtain things where people will see you, where they'll hear what you have to say, where you're meeting people, you're having conversations with people, you're hosting the workshop, or you're putting yourself out of your comfort zone. You're not in your little bubble in my own little room doing things behind the curtain, because that takes courage, stepping out of your comfort zone. But it's also embodying the version of yourself that already has the thing that you want. And you have to trust that the clarity in what it is that you are calling to you will come through the action, not in this overthinking and consuming and trainings and all of those other behind the scene things. The practice is just getting comfortable being uncomfortable over and over and over until the things that used to scare you just don't scare you anymore. They're just part of who you are. The success, it comes through the failure, it comes through the discomfort. And that, again, is you embodying the person who already has it. That's where the confidence comes from. You're not going to gain confidence and then do the thing. You're going to build the confidence by doing the thing. Just keep showing up with commitment, even when things feel slow, even when it feels like things aren't working. You're still intentionally taking action, messy, imperfect action, over and over and over. All right, step 5 is the M. That is the magic. That is the manifestation / magic. That's where you are tapping into the unseen forces that are supporting you on your journey. You're listening to your intuition, and you're letting that intuition guide your choices and direct your actions. You're open to seeing synchronicities and signs that affirm your direction and your path. Whether it's repeated numbers or symbols or meeting up with somebody who's like the perfect person to work with you on what it is that you're wanting to work on. Looking for those synchronicities, and every time I see something that's a synchronicity in my life, I just send a little thank you up to the universe. Thank you for that. I see you. Thanks. And following the inspiration when it comes, this is where you're releasing to the flow. So many times, and ask me how I know, inspiration will come and there's a lot of behind the scenes, behind the curtain work. Like, I'm going to do this thing. This is really the thing. This is what I'm going to do. And you do lots of behind the scenes work and it never gets out there because you start to doubt it. You start to question it and be like, I don't know, I could probably refine that. Let me think about it a little more. This might not be the direction I want to go. But it is, because it came from your inspiration and your intuition. So taking that inspiration and doing the inspired action to follow and releasing the need to have the outcome look or be a certain way. Part of this magic too, and the manifestation, is visualizing yourself in that dream reality, writing down and reading affirmations, journaling, using oracle and tarot cards, essential oils, journaling, making a vision board, crystals, all the high vibe things. All of those things come in this M section. And just allow yourself to get weird. You have my permission to get weird. And I say weird in the most loving way because the best people I've ever met consider themselves to be weird. I actually think everybody is weird, but not everybody is willing to admit that they're weird or own up to their weirdness. So the more weird you are, the more fun it can be. I'm speaking from my personal experience. And just really trust yourself that when you align with your truth and your vision, the universe is going to conspire to help you. And now for the final step, the S. The S stands for surrender. This is where you're just letting go of the attachment to a specific outcome. You're letting go of the need to control every last detail. And you're really just going to be patient and allow your dreams to unfold in their own time. You're letting go of the timeline. And surrendering here, it doesn't mean you're giving up. It's really about trusting what's meant for you is not going to pass you by. And this is where you just allow yourself to go with the flow. You release it. When I'm manifesting something, I get crystal clear and I follow all of these steps. And then I say to myself, or my universe, or my guides, or all the things that are conspiring to support me, I wish for this or something better. This or something better. And I let it go. I just literally imagine letting it go and drifting off into the universe. And if you're a high-achieving perfectionist like me, this might actually be the hardest part. Like, no. If I force it, it's going to be more likely to happen. If I push for it, right? If I grab onto it and hold it tightly, it's going to happen. It's going to be more likely. But that's just the opposite of truth. It's not. Letting go of the need to control is the essential last step in this manifestation method. So there you have it. The 6-step dreams manifestation method. Bookmark it, save it, follow it, and you will be blown away by what you can attract into your life. So fun. And if you're looking for a guide or a partner along the way, click the link in the show notes. Let's connect. And you'll get some information on how we can work together to co-create the dream life that you are really wanting. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.